Simone stood in the doorway of her own bedroom, her carry-on bag still in hand, staring at the nightmare that had invaded her sanctuary. A pale pink robe hung on the back of the bathroom door where her navy one used to be. Makeup she had never purchased cluttered her vanity. Prenatal vitamins sat next to the sink. Another woman had moved into her home, into her life, into her marriage, and had made herself comfortable in the space Simone had carefully built over 8 years. The house was quiet. Trevor's car sat in the driveway next to an unfamiliar silver sedan. Simone's red business suit felt too tight suddenly, constricting around her chest as she tried to breathe normally. She had returned 2 days early from the Seattle conference, eager to surprise her husband with good news about the promotion she had been offered. Instead, she was the one getting surprised. She set down her bag slowly, her hands trembling. Everything looked wrong. The bed was made differently, with throw pillows she had never seen before. The framed photo of their wedding day that usually sat on the nightstand was face down. In its place stood a sonogram image in a cheap plastic frame. Simone picked up the sonogram with shaking fingers. 20 weeks along. The date stamp showed it had been taken just 5 days ago. She calculated backward in her mind, her stomach turning. 5 months. This had been going on for at least 5 months, probably longer. The closet revealed more evidence. Women's clothes that were definitely not hers took up half the space where her winter wardrobe used to hang. Maternity jeans. Flowing tops. Comfortable shoes in a size smaller than what Simone wore. This woman had not just visited. She had moved in. Simone's phone buzzed in her purse. A text from her assistant. Hope you're enjoying your last day in Seattle. See you Monday. She should have been there right now, attending the final keynote speech. Instead, she was standing in her bedroom discovering that her entire life had been a lie. She walked through the house like a stranger, cataloging the changes. New coffee mugs in the kitchen. A different brand of orange juice in the refrigerator. Ginger tea and crackers, the kind pregnant women ate for morning sickness. Bills on the counter addressed to Trevor at this address, but with another woman's name on the account, Bethany Morrison. The study door was closed. Simone opened it and found Trevor's laptop sitting open on the desk. She had never snooped before, had never felt the need to. Trust had been the foundation of their marriage, or so she had thought. That foundation was dust now. The laptop was unlocked. His email was open. Simone sat in the leather chair she had given him for his last birthday and began to read. The messages went back 9 months. Bethany had started as a client of Trevor's consulting firm, requesting meetings, asking for advice. The emails were professional at first, then friendly, then flirtatious. By month 3 they were explicit. By month 5, Bethany was writing about their future together, about the family they would have, about how soon Trevor would leave his wife. She doesn't understand you like I do, Bethany had written. She's always working, always traveling. I'll make you the center of my world. Our baby will make you happy in ways she never could. Our baby. The words hit Simone like a physical blow. This was not some accident, some moment of weakness. This was planned. Deliberate. A calculated takeover of her husband and her life. Simone printed the emails. All of them. The printer hummed in the quiet house, producing page after page of evidence. She would need this. She already knew she would need every piece of proof she could gather. A noise from upstairs made her freeze. Footsteps. Water running. Someone was in the master bathroom taking a shower. In her bathroom. Using her water. Simone felt rage and grief collide in her chest, but she forced herself to remain calm. She gathered the printed emails, slipped them into her laptop bag and walked quietly back to the bedroom. The bathroom door was open now. Steam drifted out. Simone could hear humming, cheerful and unconcerned. She stood in the doorway and waited. The woman who emerged was younger than Simone had expected. Mid-20s perhaps. Long dark hair, porcelain skin, a rounded belly visible beneath the pink robe. She stopped when she saw Simone, and for a moment neither woman spoke. Then Bethany smiled. Actually smiled. Oh, she said, her voice bright and unbothered. You're back early. Trevor said you wouldn't be home until Sunday. Simone stared at her. The casual tone. The complete lack of shame or fear. This woman was standing in Simone's bathroom, wearing Simone's robe, carrying another man's child, and she had the audacity to sound annoyed about the timing. Get out of my house, Simone said quietly. Bethany laughed, actually laughed, and placed a protective hand on her belly. Your house. I think you're confused. Trevor asked me to move in 2 months ago. This is my home now. I'm having his baby. You're the one who needs to leave. The words were so absurd, so disconnected from reality, that Simone almost laughed herself. But there was something in Bethany's eyes, a cold calculation that told Simone this woman genuinely believed she had won something. "Where is Trevor?" Simone asked. "At the store getting me pickles and ice cream. The baby has been craving it all day." Bethany moved past Simone into the bedroom and sat on the bed, completely at ease. "Look, I know this is awkward, but we're all adults here. Trevor and I are in love. I'm giving him something you couldn't give him. A family. A child. Someone who actually appreciates him instead of choosing a career over him." Simone felt her nails dig into her palms. "You know nothing about my marriage." "I know enough. I know he's been unhappy for years. I know you're never here. I know he deserves better than a wife who treats him like an afterthought." Bethany stood and walked to the vanity, beginning to apply lotion to her arms. "He would have told you himself, but you're always so busy. This is better anyway. Clean break. You can go focus on your precious career, and Trevor and I can build our family." The sound of the garage door opening made them both turn. Trevor was home. Simone heard him call out, "Bethany? I got 3 kinds of pickles because I wasn't sure which one you wanted." His footsteps on the stairs. His voice getting closer. "I also grabbed that ginger ale you like and some of those cookies." He appeared in the doorway and stopped dead. The grocery bags slipped from his hands, pickles and cookies scattering across the floor. "Simone," he breathed. "You're home." She looked at her husband. His face had gone pale. His hands were shaking. He looked between her and Bethany like a trapped animal seeking escape. "I can explain," he started. "Don't bother," Simone said. She picked up her carry-on bag from where she had left it in the hallway. "I'll be back tomorrow with a lawyer to discuss how we're dividing everything. In the meantime, enjoy your new life." "Simone, wait please." Trevor reached for her arm, but she stepped back. "Don't touch me. Don't call me. Don't text me. Talk to my lawyer." She walked down the stairs, her head high, her back straight. Behind her, she heard Bethany's voice, sweet and victorious. "Let her go, baby. We don't need her anymore. We have each other and our baby. That's all that matters." Simone made it to her car before the tears came. She sat in the driver's seat, gripping the steering wheel, and let herself feel the full weight of the betrayal for exactly 5 minutes. Then she wiped her eyes, started the engine, and drove to her sister's house. This was not over. This was just beginning. And Bethany Morrison had made a terrible mistake thinking she had won anything at all. Simone spent the weekend at her sister Nicole's house, barely sleeping, barely eating. Nicole brought her green tea and listened without judgment as Simone poured out the whole story. By Monday morning, Simone had made 3 decisions. File for divorce immediately, hire the best lawyer money could buy, and never let them see her broken. She put on a crisp blue blazer and matching skirt, applied her makeup with care, and went to work as if her world had not just imploded. Her colleagues congratulated her on the promotion. She smiled and thanked them and focused on her job like her life depended on it. Because in many ways it did. Trevor called 17 times that day. She blocked his number. He sent emails. She filtered them straight to trash. He showed up at her office building, but security turned him away when she told them she did not wish to see him. She would communicate through lawyers now. That was the only language she would speak. On Tuesday afternoon, Bethany called. Simone almost didn't answer the unknown number, but something told her to pick up. "We need to talk," Bethany said, her voice dripping with false sweetness. "Woman to woman. We have nothing to discuss." "Oh, I think we do. See, Trevor and I are getting married as soon as your divorce is final. I think it would be better for everyone if you made this quick and easy. Don't be one of those bitter ex-wives who drags things out." Simone sat back in her office chair. "Is that right? Trevor loves me. He wants to be with me and our baby. Fighting it will just make you look pathetic. Sign the papers, take your half, and move on with dignity." Bethany paused. "I'm trying to be nice here. I could make things very difficult for you if I wanted to." "How would you do that?" "People talk. I know everyone in Trevor's social circle now. His business partners. His family. They all know about the baby. They know he's been unhappy with you for years. If you make trouble, I'll make sure everyone knows exactly what kind of wife you were. Cold. Distant. Career-obsessed. Is that really how you want to be remembered?" Simone felt a cold calm settle over her. "Are you threatening me? I'm giving you a reality check. This is my life now. My home. My man. My family. You're the past. Accept it or don't, but either way, I'm not going anywhere." "We'll see about that," Simone said softly and hung up. She sat staring at her computer screen for a long moment. Then she picked up her phone and called Nicole. "I need the name of that lawyer you used when you bought your business," Simone said. the one who doesn't lose. Nicole gave her Patricia Holloway's number without asking questions. By the end of the day, Simone had an appointment scheduled for Thursday morning. Wednesday brought a new development. Simone's phone lit up with text messages from friends and acquaintances. Had she seen the Facebook post? Was she okay? What was going on? She opened social media for the first time in days and found Bethany's public announcement. A photo of the sonogram. A long caption about finding true love when you least expected it. About how sometimes the right person was worth fighting for, even if it meant breaking a few hearts along the way. About how excited she was to start her journey into motherhood with the love of her life. The post had dozens of comments. Congratulations. So happy for you. You deserve this. A few people Simone had thought were friends had liked it. Trevor was tagged in the post. His relationship status had changed from married to in a relationship with Bethany Morrison. Simone took screenshots of everything. Then she deactivated her own social media accounts. She would not participate in this circus. She would not give Bethany the satisfaction of a public reaction. Thursday morning arrived cold and gray. Simone dressed in a red power suit and drove to Patricia Holloway's office in the financial district. The building was glass and steel, modern and intimidating. Perfect. Patricia's assistant led Simone to a corner office with a view of the city. The lawyer herself was a woman in her 50s, silver hair cut in a sharp bob, wearing a charcoal suit that probably cost more than Simone's car payment. Tell me everything, Patricia said, settling into her chair with a legal pad. Don't leave anything out. Simone spent the next hour recounting every detail. The discovery. The emails. Bethany's arrival. The social media announcement. The phone call. Patricia took notes in neat, precise handwriting, her expression never changing. When Simone finished, Patricia set down her pen and looked at her directly. First question, Patricia said. Do you want him back? Absolutely not. Good. Because I don't do reconciliations. I do divorces and I do them thoroughly. Patricia leaned forward. Second question. How badly do you want to win? What do you mean? Are you willing to play the long game? Are you willing to be patient and strategic instead of reactive? Because this Bethany woman is sloppy. She's already made mistakes. The question is whether you want to simply get divorced, or whether you want to make sure she doesn't get to keep what she thinks she's won. Simone thought about Bethany's smile in the bathroom. Her hand on her belly. Her casual cruelty. Her assumption that Simone would simply disappear. I want to win, Simone said quietly. I want her to regret ever thinking she could take my life. Patricia smiled for the first time. Then we're going to need an investigator. Because something about her story doesn't add up, and I want to know what she's hiding before we file anything. What doesn't add up? Patricia flipped back through her notes. The timeline is too perfect. She met him 9 months ago. She's 20 weeks pregnant. That means she got pregnant within weeks of meeting him. Right when things were starting to get serious. That's either incredibly convenient timing or incredibly calculated planning. You think she got pregnant on purpose? I think pregnancy is a powerful tool for a certain type of woman. And the way she's behaving, this confident, this aggressive, she's done this before. I'd bet money on it. Patricia pulled a business card from her desk drawer. This is James Fletcher. Best private investigator in the state. He's expensive, but he's worth it. I want him to dig into Bethany Morrison's background. Every job. Every relationship. Every address. If she's lying about anything, he'll find it. Simone took the card. How long will this take? A few weeks, maybe a month. In the meantime, we're going to secure your assets, document everything, and make sure Trevor can't make any major financial decisions without your knowledge. You said you have joint accounts? Most of them, yes. We're separating those today. Open new accounts in your name only. Move half of everything into them. Document every penny. Get copies of all financial statements, tax returns, property deeds, everything. If Trevor has been supporting this woman, I want to know where the money came from. Simone felt a weight lift from her shoulders. For the first time since Friday, she felt like she had some control. What about the house? Don't move back in. Stay with your sister or get a short-term rental. If you move back in, it becomes a fight over who has to leave. If you stay out, we can use it as leverage later. Let him live there with his pregnant girlfriend. Let the neighbors see. Let his family see. The optics are terrible for him. Good, Simone said. I want everyone to see exactly who he is. Patricia walked her through the next steps. File a petition for legal separation immediately. Serve Trevor through a process server. Begin gathering financial documents. Contact James Fletcher before the end of the day. As Simone stood to leave, Patricia stopped her at the door. One more thing, the lawyer said. This woman is going to keep pushing. She's going to try to provoke you into doing something stupid. Don't take the bait. Don't confront her. Don't argue with her. Don't respond to her calls or texts. Let her think she's winning. People get careless when they think they've already won. Simone nodded. I can do that. I believe you can. Call me after you talk to James. Simone left the office feeling clearer than she had in days. She had a plan now. A strategy. She was not going to be the discarded wife who disappeared quietly. She was going to be the woman who fought back intelligently. She called James Fletcher from her car. His voice was gruff but professional. He could meet her tomorrow, Friday afternoon. She agreed immediately. That evening, Nicole helped her set up a new bank account and begin the process of separating her finances. They worked through dinner, spreadsheets and statements covering the dining table. I'm proud of you, Nicole said, reaching across to squeeze Simone's hand. You're handling this better than most people would. I'm dying inside, Simone admitted. But I'm not going to let them see it. I'm not going to give her that satisfaction. She's going to regret this, Nicole said fiercely. When you're done with them, they're both going to wish they had never met each other. Simone looked at her reflection in the dark window. Red suit. Determined eyes. She barely recognized herself, but she liked this version better. This version was not someone you could betray and expect to get away with it. Yes, she said softly. They will. Friday afternoon brought rain and gray skies. Simone met James Fletcher at a coffee shop downtown, a neutral location where they could talk without interruption. He was a compact man in his early 50s, wearing a brown jacket and carrying a worn leather messenger bag. His handshake was firm, his eyes sharp and assessing. Patricia speaks highly of you, he said as they settled into a corner booth. Says you're looking for answers about Bethany Morrison. Everything you can find, Simone confirmed. I want to know who she really is. James pulled out a notebook and pen. Give me everything you know about her. Full name, approximate age, where she's from, how she met your husband, anything she's told him about her background. Simone recounted what she had learned from Trevor's emails and Bethany's social media. Bethany claimed to be 26 years old. She had told Trevor she was from Ohio originally, had moved to the city 3 years ago for work. She said she worked in marketing but was vague about which company. She had no family that she mentioned, claimed her parents had died in a car accident when she was young, said she had been raised by an aunt who had since passed away. James wrote it all down, his expression neutral. Any friends? Anyone she talks about from her past? Not that I've seen. Her social media only goes back 18 months. Before that, nothing. That's interesting, James said, underlining something in his notes. Most people have digital footprints that go back years. Photos from high school, college posts, old relationships. If hers only goes back 18 months, she either created a new identity or scrubbed her old one. Why would she do that? Lots of reasons. None of them good. He looked up at her. What about financial information? Do you know if Trevor has been supporting her? I found credit card statements at the house. Restaurants I've never been to. Jewelry stores. A furniture purchase for over $3,000. All in the last 4 months. Good. Give me copies of those if you can. I want to see the pattern of spending. James flipped to a new page. Now, tell me about the pregnancy. Does Trevor believe the baby is his? She told him it was. She showed him the sonogram. But you have doubts. Simone hesitated. The timing seems very convenient. She gets pregnant right when their affair is getting serious. Right when he would feel obligated to leave me. Trust your instincts. Women who use pregnancy to trap men usually have practice. This might not be her first time. James closed his notebook. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to run a comprehensive background check. Every database I have access to. Criminal records, civil suits, marriage licenses, divorce records, employment verification, credit history, property records. If she's lied about anything, I'll find it. How long will it take? Initial results in a week. Full report in 2 to 3 weeks. I'll call you the moment I find anything significant. He studied her face. How are you holding up? The question surprised her. She had not expected kindness from this hardened investigator. I'm managing, she said. This is the worst part, he told her. The not knowing. The waiting. Once we have information, you'll feel more in control. Trust the process. Simone left the meeting feeling both hopeful and anxious. A week felt like an eternity. But she had waited this long. She could wait a little longer. The weekend passed slowly. Simone threw herself into apartment hunting, determined to find her own place instead of staying indefinitely with Nicole. She found a beautiful 2-bedroom in a modern building, top floor, with floor-to-ceiling windows and a balcony overlooking the city. It was more expensive than she had planned, but something about the brightness and openness called to her. She signed the lease on Sunday. Monday brought the legal separation papers. Patricia's office had them prepared and ready to file. Simone reviewed every page carefully before signing. The division of assets was clearly laid out. The house would be sold and profits split. Retirement accounts divided. No spousal support in either direction. Clean and final. When do we serve him? Simone asked. Today, Patricia said. I have a process server standing by. Where will Trevor be this afternoon? At his office. He usually works late on Mondays. Perfect. Expect some calls tonight. He's going to be upset. Simone blocked Trevor's number again just to be safe. She did not want to hear his excuses or his pleas. She wanted him to understand that this was real and irreversible. The call came from Nicole instead that evening around 7. Trevor just showed up at my door, Nicole said. He's crying. Begging me to get you to talk to him. What do you want me to do? Tell him to leave or you'll call the police. Tell him to talk to his lawyer if he has questions. Tell him I have nothing to say to him. Done. Nicole's voice was grim with satisfaction. He looks terrible, by the way. Like he hasn't slept in days. Good, Simone said and meant it. Tuesday brought an unexpected visitor to Simone's office. The receptionist called up, sounding uncomfortable. There's a Bethany Morrison here to see you. She doesn't have an appointment, but she says it's urgent. Simone's first instinct was to refuse. Patricia had told her not to engage. But curiosity won out. Send her up. Bethany appeared 5 minutes later, wearing a flowing green maternity dress and a smile that did not reach her eyes. Her belly was more prominent now, or perhaps she was emphasizing it deliberately. Thank you for seeing me, Bethany said, settling into the chair across from Simone's desk without being invited. I know things are tense between us, but I wanted to clear the air. Simone said nothing, just waited. Trevor is a mess, Bethany continued. He feels terrible about how you found out. He never meant to hurt you. Neither of us did. But what's done is done, and I think we should all try to move forward as adults. Why are you here, Bethany? I want to make sure you're not going to drag this divorce out. Trevor and I want to get married before the baby comes. We want our child to be born into a legitimate family. I'm asking you, woman to woman, to make this easy on everyone. Simone leaned back in her chair. You mean make it easy on you? On all of us? Look, I know you're hurt. I get that. But fighting isn't going to change anything. Trevor loves me. He wants to be with me. You're just delaying the inevitable. Bethany placed both hands on her belly. Think about the baby. This innocent child deserves a stable home with married parents. Don't let your pride get in the way of that. The manipulation was so transparent it was almost funny. Simone kept her expression neutral. Are you finished? She asked. Bethany's smile faltered. I'm trying to be reasonable here. You broke into my marriage. You moved into my home. You're carrying a child you claim is my husband's. And now you want me to make things convenient for you? Simone stood. Get out of my office. If you contact me again, I'll file for a restraining order. You can't do that. Watch me. Now leave before I call security. Bethany stood, her face flushing. You're going to regret this. Trevor is going to be so angry when I tell him how unreasonable you're being. Tell him whatever you want. Tell him through his lawyer. That's the only way we're communicating now. Bethany stormed out, her heels clicking sharply on the polished floor. Simone waited until she was gone, then called Patricia. She came to my office, Simone said. Tried to pressure me into making the divorce quick and easy. Did you record the conversation? No, I didn't think of it. If she approaches you again, record everything. In the meantime, I'm going to send a cease and desist letter. She has no legal right to contact you about your divorce. That's harassment. She's getting desperate, Simone observed. Good. Desperate people make mistakes. Let her keep making them. The next 2 weeks crawled by. Simone moved into her new apartment, filling it with furniture that was completely her own style. Modern and clean. Lots of light. Artwork that made her smile. She painted one wall a deep maroon, bold and unapologetic. Work became her refuge. The promotion came through and she threw herself into the new role. Longer hours. More responsibility. Projects that challenged her. Her colleagues noticed the change, the sharper edge to her focus, but no one asked questions. She avoided social situations where she might run into Trevor or his friends. She declined invitations to parties and gatherings. She was not hiding, she told herself. She was regrouping. Nicole visited often, bringing food and company. Rachel, Simone's best friend from college, flew in for a weekend and took her out for drinks and dancing. They stayed out until 2 in the morning, and for a few hours, Simone almost forgot about everything waiting for her back in reality. "You're going to get through this," Rachel said, hugging her outside the club. "And when you do, you're going to be stronger than you ever imagined." "I hope you're right," Simone said. "I'm always right. Ask anyone." On the 15th day after hiring James Fletcher, he called. "I've got preliminary results," he said. "Can you come to my office?" "When?" "Now, if possible. You're going to want to see this in person." Simone left work early, her heart pounding. She drove to James's office in an older building downtown, climbing 3 flights of stairs to a door with frosted glass and his name in gold lettering. His office was exactly what she expected. File cabinets, computers, stacks of folders and documents, a wall covered in maps and photographs. He gestured her to a chair and sat across from her, a thick folder on the desk between them. "Bethany Morrison is not who she says she is," James said without preamble. "In fact, Bethany Morrison is not even her real name." Simone felt her breath catch. "What?" "Her real name is Bethany Ann Carter. She was born in Florida, not Ohio. She's 32, not 26. And she's wanted in 2 states for fraud and identity theft." He opened the folder and spread photographs across the desk. Different driver's licenses, different names, different addresses. But the same face, the same woman. "She's done this before," James continued. "Multiple times. She targets successful men, usually married, usually vulnerable. She gets pregnant, demands they leave their wives, drains their bank accounts, and disappears before anyone can catch her. She's left a trail of bankruptcies and restraining orders across 3 states." Simone stared at the photographs. "How many men?" "That I can confirm? 4. But I suspect there are more." He pulled out another set of documents. "She's also currently married. Legal ceremony in Nevada 3 years ago. Never divorced. Which means anything she does with Trevor would be bigamy. Does Trevor know any of this?" "I doubt it. She's good at creating believable backstories. The whole dead parents thing? Complete fiction. Her mother is alive and well in Tampa. Her father is serving time in a federal prison for embezzlement. The aunt who supposedly raised her never existed." Simone felt numb. "What about the baby?" James's expression grew serious. "That's where it gets interesting. I pulled hospital records from her previous cities. She's claimed to be pregnant at least 3 times before. One ended in a supposed miscarriage right after the man gave her money. One was never verified at all. The third, the baby wasn't his." "How do you know?" "Because the actual father filed a lawsuit when he found out she'd been telling multiple men they were the father while collecting money from all of them. The case was settled out of court, but the records exist." Simone's mind was racing. "So the baby might not be Trevor's." "There's a very good chance it's not. Or there might not even be a baby. Some of these sonogram images can be faked. You can buy them online. Unless Trevor has been to a doctor's appointment with her and seen medical records, he's just taking her word for it." "He hasn't mentioned going to any appointments," Simone said slowly. "He complained once in an email that she always scheduled them during his work hours. Because she doesn't want him there. She wants to control the narrative." James pulled out more documents. "I've also tracked her financial activity. Credit cards in different names. Bank accounts she opens and empties. She's methodical. This is her job, essentially. She finds wealthy men, manipulates them, takes their money, and moves on." Simone felt sick and vindicated at the same time. "What do we do with this information?" "That's up to you and Patricia. But I'd suggest waiting until you have everything before you reveal what you know. Right now, she thinks she's gotten away with it. She thinks she's won. Let her keep thinking that while we gather every piece of evidence we can. Then we expose everything at once. In court. In front of Trevor. In front of everyone. How long will that take?" "Another week, maybe 2. I want to verify the current husband situation. I want copies of the fraud charges. I want financial records showing where all of Trevor's money has been going. By the time I'm finished, we'll have an airtight case." Simone stood, her legs shaky. "Thank you, James. This is more than I hoped for." "One more thing," he said, stopping her at the door. "Be careful. Women like Bethany don't take kindly to being exposed. When she realizes what's happening, she might get dangerous. Not physically but in other ways. She'll try to control the narrative, play the victim, turn people against you. Don't give her ammunition. I'll be careful, Simone promised. She left his office and sat in her car for a long time, processing everything she had learned. Bethany was a con artist. A professional liar. The pregnancy might be fake. The baby might not even be Trevor's. And Trevor had fallen for all of it. Part of her wanted to call him right now, to tell him what a fool he had been. But Patricia's advice echoed in her mind. Let them think they're winning. People get careless when they think they've already won. So instead, she drove home to her bright new apartment, poured herself a glass of wine, and began planning exactly how she would destroy them both. James Fletcher called Simone at 7 in the morning, exactly 9 days after their last meeting. She was in her apartment, drinking coffee and preparing for work when her phone rang. "I've got something you need to see immediately," he said. "Can you come to my office before work? I'll be there in 30 minutes. She dressed quickly in a navy suit and drove through morning traffic, her mind spinning with possibilities. What had James found that was urgent enough to call this early? His office was already bustling when she arrived. 2 assistants were working at computers and James was on the phone, gesturing animatedly. He waved her into his private office and finished his call. "Sorry about the early hour," he said, spreading a new set of documents across his desk. "But this couldn't wait. I found Bethany's current husband." Simone sat down hard. "You're certain?" "Absolutely. His name is Robert Finch. They got married in Las Vegas 3 years ago. It was his 3rd marriage, her 2nd that I can confirm. The marriage license is public record." He pushed a photograph across the desk. "This is Robert. He's a real estate developer in Arizona. Worth about $7 million. The man in the photo was in his 50s, distinguished looking, wearing an expensive suit. "I spoke with him yesterday," James continued. "Once he understood why I was calling, he had a lot to say about Bethany. Such as, she drained $200,000 from his accounts before he caught on. She claimed to be pregnant with his child. He believed her, started making plans to set up a trust fund for the baby. Then one day he came home early and found her packing to leave. No baby. Never was. She had been taking hormone shots to fake pregnancy symptoms, padding her clothes, using someone else's sonogram pictures." Simone felt cold. Did he press charges? He tried. But she disappeared before the police could find her. He's had a warrant out for her arrest for 2 years. She changes names, changes cities, always stays one step ahead. James pulled out another file. "But here's the thing that's going to help you. Robert Finch wants his money back. When I told him Bethany was in this city, targeting another man, he was very interested in cooperating." "Cooperating how?" "He's willing to testify. He's willing to provide financial records showing how much she stole. He's willing to do whatever it takes to see her prosecuted. And he has proof that she's still legally married to him, which makes anything she does with Trevor invalid." Simone's mind raced. "Does Trevor know she's married?" "I doubt it. Robert says she told him she was a widow. Clean slate. No past. Same story she's probably told Trevor. How many lies can one person tell? You'd be surprised. I've been doing this for 23 years and Bethany is one of the most skilled con artists I've encountered. She's patient. She builds relationships. She studies her targets and tells them exactly what they want to hear." James pulled out more photographs. "I've also traced her movements over the past 5 years. For different cities. For different identities. For different victims. The pattern is always the same." He laid out the timeline. Bethany would move to a new city, create a new identity, find a wealthy married man who seemed unhappy or lonely. She would pursue him carefully, make him feel special, understood. She would get pregnant or claim to be pregnant. She would push him to leave his wife and commit to her. Then she would systematically drain his resources while appearing to be the perfect supportive partner. "The pregnancy is always the key," James explained. "It creates urgency. It makes the man feel obligated. It gives her leverage to demand money for medical bills, baby supplies, furniture, everything. And if she can actually get pregnant, even better. Child support is a long-term income stream." "But whose baby would it be?" Simone asked. "Could be anyone's. She's been known to have multiple relationships running simultaneously. Find 3 or 4 wealthy men, get pregnant by one of them, tell all of them they're the father. Collect money from all of them. By the time paternity tests happen, she's long gone." Simone thought about Trevor, about how he had fallen for every word. What about medical records? Surely Trevor has asked to see proof. That's the brilliant part. She controls all medical information. She tells him about appointments but schedules them when he can't attend. She shows him sonogram printouts that could be real or could be purchased online. She complains about difficult doctors or insurance issues to explain why he can't come to appointments. She creates just enough resistance that he stops pushing. How do we prove the baby isn't his? We force a paternity test. But that only works if there actually is a baby. If she's faking the pregnancy like she did with Robert, that will become obvious in the next few weeks. She's supposedly 20 weeks along now, right? That's what she claims. Real pregnancies become impossible to hide after 24 weeks. If she's not showing significant physical changes in the next month, we'll know she's lying. In the meantime, I'm going to keep digging into her finances. James pulled out bank statements. Trevor's accounts showed large withdrawals over the past 6 months. $1,500 here. $3,000 there. A $10,000 check to a furniture store. $5,000 to a jewelry store. Thousands more to restaurants, spas, boutiques. She's been spending his money like it's water, James said, and setting up accounts in her own name. Look at this. He showed Simone credit card applications. She's been opening cards using Trevor's information. His income. His credit score. But the cards are in her name only. She's run up $30,000 in debt that he doesn't even know about yet. That's fraud. Absolutely. And we can prove it. The question is, when do we reveal it? Simone thought carefully. Patricia said to wait until we have everything. Agreed. I want to find her previous victims. Get their statements. Build a pattern of behavior that's impossible to deny. I also want to track down any other children she might have claimed to have had. If we can prove she's lied about pregnancies before, it strengthens our case that she's lying now. How long will all this take? Another week, maybe less. I've got contacts in every city she's lived in. I'm pulling court records, police reports, hospital records, everything. By the time we're done, we'll have a complete picture of exactly who Bethany Carter really is. Simone stood to leave, then paused. What happens to Trevor when all this comes out? James's expression was sympathetic. That's not really my concern. But if you're asking if he'll face consequences, probably. Financial consequences for certain. Legal consequences possibly, depending on how much he knew or should have known. And personal consequences definitely. This will destroy his reputation. Good, Simone said quietly. She left the office and sat in her car, staring at the documents James had copied for her. Page after page of evidence. Lies upon lies upon lies. Bethany had created an entire false identity, and Trevor had believed every word. Part of her felt vindicated. She had known something was wrong. Her instincts had been correct. But another part of her felt sad for the life she had lost. 8 years of marriage, ended by a professional con artist who had targeted her husband like prey. She drove to work and tried to focus on her job. But her mind kept returning to the photographs. Bethany's face on different IDs. Different names. Different lives. How did someone become that person? How did someone look another human being in the eye and lie so completely? Patricia called during lunch. James briefed me on the latest findings. This is extraordinary. We have more than enough to not only win the divorce but to press criminal charges against Bethany. What's our next move? We wait. Let James finish his investigation. In the meantime, I'm going to prepare 2 sets of documents. One for the divorce proceedings. One for criminal prosecution. When we're ready, we'll file both simultaneously. Hit them from both sides. Will Trevor be charged with anything? Probably not criminally, unless we can prove he was actively involved in the fraud. But civilly, he'll be liable for the debts Bethany incurred using his information. His credit will be destroyed. His business reputation will suffer. He'll lose money in the divorce settlement. And he'll have to deal with the fallout of being publicly exposed as a fool. I don't feel sorry for him, Simone said. You shouldn't. He made his choices. He betrayed you. He believed a con artist over his own wife. Now he gets to live with the consequences. That evening, Simone met Nicole for dinner at a small Italian restaurant. They sat in a corner booth, and Simone filled her sister in on everything James had discovered. Nicole listened, her eyes growing wider with each revelation. This is insane. She's a professional criminal. Essentially, yes. And Trevor fell for it completely. He wanted to believe he was special. That he had found someone who understood him better than I did. Bethany told him exactly what he wanted to hear. Simone sipped her wine. Part of me wants to call him right now and tell him what an idiot he's been. But you're not going to. No. Because the longer he believes her, the worse he looks when the truth comes out. Let him plan his future with her. Let him tell everyone about the baby. Let him make a complete fool of himself. Then we'll pull the rug out. Nicole raised her glass. To revenge served cold. To justice, Simone corrected. I'm not doing this to hurt him. I'm doing this to protect myself and to make sure she doesn't get away with it. You can want both things. You can want justice and want him to suffer. He deserves it. They finished dinner and walked through the city streets. The spring air was cool and fresh, and Simone felt lighter than she had in weeks. She had information now. Power. Control. The waiting was almost over. Her phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. She almost ignored it, but something made her check. I know you're investigating me. You should stop. You have no idea who you're messing with. Simone showed the text to Nicole. Bethany? Probably. She's getting nervous. Simone blocked the number and kept walking. Let Bethany worry. Let her panic. Let her make mistakes. 2 days later, James called again. I found 2 more victims, he said. Both willing to testify. Both with documentation of fraud. And I found something else. Hospital records from Atlanta showing Bethany had her tubes tied 4 years ago. She can't get pregnant. Simone stopped breathing. What? She had a voluntary tubal ligation at 28. Medical records are clear. Which means this entire pregnancy is fake. There is no baby. There never was. How is she hiding it? Padding. Hormone supplements to fake symptoms. Fake sonograms. She's done it before and she's doing it again. In about 4 to 6 weeks, she'll claim to have a miscarriage. Blame it on stress from the divorce. Take money from Trevor for medical bills and emotional support. Then she'll disappear. Simone felt rage burn through her veins. We have to tell Trevor. Not yet. If we tell him now, she'll run. We need to trap her here. Make her think she's safe. Then spring everything at once when she has no time to escape. When? 1 more week. I'm finishing the last of the financial tracking. Then we present everything to the police and to your lawyer simultaneously. We file criminal charges and divorce papers on the same day. She gets arrested. Trevor gets served. It all happens at once. Can you guarantee she won't run? Nothing is guaranteed. But if we time it right, she won't have warning. We'll move fast and decisively. Simone agreed to wait. 1 more week. She could manage 1 more week. But that night, lying in her bed in her bright new apartment, she allowed herself to imagine the moment when Bethany's world would collapse. The moment when Trevor would realize he had been played. The moment when everyone would see the truth. She fell asleep smiling. The following Monday, Simone received a certified letter at her office. Inside was a legal document from a law firm she did not recognize. Bethany had hired an attorney and was suing Simone for harassment and emotional distress. The claims were absurd. Simone had allegedly been stalking Bethany, making threatening phone calls and spreading malicious lies about her character. The lawsuit demanded $50,000 in damages and a restraining order preventing Simone from coming within 500 feet of Bethany or her residence. Simone called Patricia immediately. It's an intimidation tactic, Patricia said after reviewing the document. She's trying to scare you into backing off. The claims are baseless. No judge will grant this. But we need to respond formally. How? I'll file a motion to dismiss and a countersuit for malicious prosecution. But this tells us something important. She knows we're investigating her. She's trying to create a legal barrier. How would she know? Someone talked. Or she's just paranoid. Either way, she's feeling threatened. That's good for us. Scared people make mistakes. Patricia was right. Over the next 3 days, Bethany's behavior became increasingly erratic. She showed up at Simone's workplace twice more, demanding to speak with her. Security turned her away both times. She left rambling voicemail messages on Simone's work phone, alternating between threats and tearful pleas. You're ruining my life, one message said. Trevor and I love each other. We're having a baby. Why can't you just let us be happy? Another message was darker. You think you're so smart. You think you can destroy me. I've dealt with women like you before. You're going to regret this. Simone saved every message, forwarded them to Patricia and James. More evidence. More ammunition. James called on Wednesday with a breakthrough. I've traced Bethany's money trail, he said. It's sophisticated. She's been using shell companies and fake accounts to move Trevor's money around. But I found where it's all going. Where? Offshore accounts in the Cayman Islands. She's been systematically transferring funds for the past 4 months. Small amounts at first, then larger. She's moved over $90,000 so far. Simone felt sick. 90,000? From Trevor's business accounts, his personal savings, credit cards she opened in his name. She's been bleeding him dry while making it look like normal expenses. Furniture, medical bills, baby supplies. All fake purchases with the money going straight to her accounts. Can we get it back? That's complicated. International financial law is tricky. But we can certainly prosecute her for theft and fraud. The paper trail is clear. James paused. There's more. I found the real estate developer from Arizona, Robert Finch. He's flying in this weekend to meet with us and the police. He's bringing all his documentation. This weekend? Saturday morning. Patricia will be there. The district attorney's office will be there. We're building a criminal case against Bethany. Multiple counts of fraud, identity theft, money laundering. This isn't just a divorce anymore, Simone. This is a major criminal investigation. Simone sat back in her chair, processing. Part of her had wanted simple revenge. But this had become something bigger. Bethany had hurt multiple people, stolen hundreds of thousands of dollars, destroyed lives. She deserved to face real justice. What do you need from me? She asked. Keep doing what you're doing. Document everything. Save every message, every voicemail, every text. If she approaches you again, record it if you can. We need evidence of her current behavior to establish a pattern. Friday afternoon brought another development. Trevor's assistant called Simone's cell phone. I know I'm not supposed to contact you, the woman said quietly. But I thought you should know. Trevor has been missing work. He looks terrible. And there have been some issues with the business accounts. Money that should be there isn't there. What kind of money? Payroll almost didn't go through last week. He had to transfer funds from his personal account to cover it. And there are vendors calling about unpaid bills. I think something's wrong, but he won't talk about it. Simone thanked her and hung up. Bethany was accelerating her theft. She must sense that time was running out. Saturday morning arrived clear and bright. Simone dressed in a maroon suit and drove to the district attorney's office downtown. The meeting room was full when she arrived. Patricia sat at a large conference table with James. Across from them was Robert Finch, the real estate developer from Arizona, looking tired but determined. 2 prosecutors sat at the head of the table, reviewing documents. Thank you for coming, the lead prosecutor said to Simone. She was a woman in her 40s named Catherine Moss, with sharp eyes and a no-nonsense demeanor. We've been reviewing the evidence Mr. Fletcher and Mr. Finch have provided. This is one of the most comprehensive fraud cases I've seen. Catherine spread documents across the table. Bank statements, transfer records, false identification papers, court documents from previous states, testimony from other victims James had tracked down. Bethany and Carter has been running this con for at least 6 years, Catherine continued. We can prove fraud in 4 states. Identity theft, money laundering, bigamy, and based on medical records, faking pregnancy to extort money from victims. The total amount stolen exceeds $400,000 across all victims. Robert Finch spoke up. She destroyed my life, my reputation, my business. I want to see her prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. We intend to do exactly that, Catherine assured him. But we need to move carefully. She's a flight risk. The moment she suspects we're onto her, she'll disappear like she has before. So we're going to coordinate arrests with maximum effect. When? Simone asked. Monday. We'll have officers standing by at the home she shares with Trevor. We'll serve arrest warrants and search warrants simultaneously. We'll freeze all her accounts. We'll make sure she has no time to run. Patricia leaned forward. What about Trevor? Will he face charges? That depends on what we find during the search. If he knowingly participated in the fraud, yes. If he was a victim like the others, probably not. But he'll be questioned extensively. The meeting continued for 2 hours. They reviewed every piece of evidence, every witness statement, every financial record. By the end, Simone's head was spinning with information. As people began to gather their materials, Catherine pulled Simone aside. I want to prepare you for what's coming, she said quietly. When we arrest Bethany, the media will likely pick up the story. It's sensational. Multiple victims. Fake pregnancy. Offshore accounts. You'll probably be contacted by reporters. What should I say? Nothing. Refer them to my office. Don't discuss the case publicly. Don't post anything on social media. Let us handle the narrative. Catherine paused. I also want you to know that Trevor is going to be humiliated when this goes public. His business, his reputation, everything will be exposed. Are you prepared for that? Simone thought about it honestly. He made his choice. He believed her over me. He let her into our home, into our life. Yes, I'm prepared. Catherine nodded approvingly. Good. Stay strong. This is going to get intense. Simone left the meeting and drove to Nicole's house. Her sister was in the backyard, gardening in the spring sunshine. Simone sat on the patio and told her everything. Monday, Nicole breathed. It's really happening. It's really happening. How do you feel? Terrified, excited, angry, vindicated. All of it at once. Simone picked at the hem of her maroon jacket. Part of me still can't believe this is my life. 2 months ago, I had a husband and a home and a normal existence. Now I'm sitting in meetings with prosecutors building a criminal case. You didn't choose this. Bethany and Trevor chose it. I know, but it still feels surreal. They sat in silence for a while, watching birds flit through the trees. Finally, Nicole asked the question Simone had been avoiding. What are you going to do after this is over? After the arrest and the trial and the divorce? I don't know, Simone admitted. I've been so focused on getting through this that I haven't thought about what comes after. You should think about it. You should think about what you want. Not what Trevor wanted or what your marriage was. What Simone wants. Was a good question. What did she want? She had spent so many years building a life with Trevor that she had forgotten to ask herself what she wanted independently. I want to travel, she said slowly. I've always wanted to see Paris. And Tokyo. And the mountains in New Zealand. But Trevor always had excuses. Too busy. Too expensive. Maybe next year. So go. Book a trip. Take your vacation time and go see the world. By myself. Why not? You don't need anyone's permission anymore. You're free. The word hit Simone like a revelation. Free. She was free. The divorce would finalize eventually. She had her own apartment, her own money, her own career. She could do whatever she wanted. I might do that, she said. After everything settles. I might take a month and just travel. Good. You deserve it. Sunday passed quietly. Simone cleaned her apartment, went for a long run, tried to keep her mind occupied. She did not sleep well that night, knowing what Monday would bring. At 6 a.m, her phone rang. James Fletcher. It's happening now, he said. Police are at the house. They're executing the warrants. Simone sat up in bed, her heart pounding. And? I'll call you back when I know more. The next 2 hours were the longest of Simone's life. She made coffee she didn't drink. She paced her apartment. She checked her phone every 30 seconds. Finally, James called again. She's in custody. They arrested her at the house. Found evidence of fraud, fake pregnancy materials, documents for multiple identities. Trevor was there. He's not under arrest, but he's being questioned. It's over, Simone. We got her. Simone sat down on her couch, tears streaming down her face. Relief, vindication, grief for the life she had lost, joy for the life she was about to build. Thank you, she managed to say. Thank you for everything. You did this, James said. You trusted your instincts. You were patient. You let the process work. This is your victory. She hung up and called Nicole, then Patricia, then Rachel. By noon, the news was everywhere. Local news stations were reporting the arrest of a woman who had defrauded multiple victims across several states. Trevor's name was mentioned as one of her targets. The story was spreading. Simone stayed inside, away from cameras and reporters. She let Catherine handle all media inquiries. She focused on breathing, on processing, on beginning to heal. Monday evening, Patricia called with an update. Trevor wants to talk to you. His lawyer called me. He's devastated. He had no idea about any of it. He believed everything Bethany told him. I don't care, Simone said. I don't want to talk to him. I told them that. But I thought you should know. He's facing financial ruin. The business is failing. His reputation is destroyed. And he's asking if there's any way to stop the divorce. Absolutely not. Proceed exactly as planned. Done. The divorce should be final in about 6 weeks. All assets will be divided as outlined. You'll walk away with your fair share and your dignity intact. Good. That night, Simone stood on her balcony overlooking the city. Lights twinkled in buildings all around her. Somewhere out there, Bethany sat in a jail cell. Trevor sat in the wreckage of his life. And Simone stood here, bruised but not broken, wounded but healing. She thought about Nicole's question. What did she want? She wanted peace. She wanted adventure. She wanted to wake up every morning and know that her life was completely her own. She wanted to never again compromise her dreams for someone who didn't value them. She wanted to be free. And starting tomorrow she would be. The week following Bethany's arrest felt like living in a fishbowl. News vans parked outside Simone's apartment building. Reporters called her office. Social media exploded with speculation and commentary. Everyone wanted a statement from the betrayed wife. Simone said nothing publicly. She went to work, came home, and let Catherine Moss handle all media communication. The prosecutor was good at her job, feeding the press just enough information to keep them satisfied while protecting the integrity of the case. Rachel flew in Tuesday evening, taking emergency time off from her job in Chicago. She arrived at Simone's door with suitcases and determination. "You're not going through this alone," Rachel announced, pushing past Simone into the apartment. "I'm staying until things calm down." "You don't have to do that." "I absolutely do. You're my best friend. This is what best friends do." Rachel set down her bags and surveyed the apartment. "Nice place. Very you. Bright and clean and no traces of Trevor anywhere." They ordered Chinese food and sat on the couch, eating straight from the containers like they used to do in college. Rachel filled Simone in on her life, deliberately keeping the conversation light and normal. It was exactly what Simone needed. Wednesday morning brought a knock at the door. Nicole stood there with bagels and coffee, looking determined. "Family breakfast meeting," she announced. "Rachel called me. We're forming a support team." The three women sat around Simone's small dining table, strategizing like generals planning a campaign. "First order of business," Nicole said, pulling out a notebook. "We're screening all your calls and visitors. Nobody gets through unless we approve them. Second," Rachel added, "we're taking shifts. One of us will be with you at all times until the media circus dies down. You don't go anywhere alone." "That's not necessary," Simone protested. "It absolutely is," Nicole countered. "You're strong, but you don't have to do this alone. Let us help you." Simone looked at these two women who loved her, who had dropped everything to be here, and felt gratitude wash over her. "Okay," she said quietly. "Thank you." The next few days fell into a rhythm. Rachel went to work with Simone, sitting in the office reading while Simone attended meetings. Nicole handled apartment duties, grocery shopping, and fielding phone calls. They created a protective bubble around Simone, filtering out the chaos and noise. On Thursday, Patricia called with news. "Trevor's lawyer has requested a meeting. Trevor wants to explain himself. He's desperate to talk to you." "No," Simone said firmly. "I have nothing to say to him. That's what I told them. But he's persistent. He sent letters to my office. Flowers to your workplace. He's trying everything. Block it all." "I meant what I said. The only communication is through lawyers." That afternoon, a massive flower arrangement arrived at Simone's office. 24 red roses with a card, "Please forgive me. I was a fool. I love you. Trevor." Simone had security remove them immediately. Within an hour, another arrangement arrived. Then another. By the end of the day, 6 different flower deliveries had been sent back. "He's not getting the message," Rachel observed that evening. "Or he's getting it and refusing to accept it," Nicole said. "Some men can't handle rejection." Simone's phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "I know you're behind this. You set me up. You're going to pay for destroying my life." She showed it to Nicole and Rachel. "Bethany?" Rachel guessed. "Probably from jail. They get phone privileges." Simone blocked the number. "Let her threaten. It just gives Catherine more evidence." Friday brought an unexpected visitor. Trevor's mother, Helen, appeared at Simone's office building. Security called up before letting her through. "Do you want to see her?" the guard asked. Simone hesitated. Helen had always been kind to her. But she was also Trevor's mother. "Send her up," Simone decided. But only for 10 minutes. Helen entered looking 20 years older than the last time Simone had seen her. Her eyes were red from crying, her hands shaking as she clutched her purse. "I'm so sorry," Helen said immediately. "I had no idea. None of us did. That woman, she fooled everyone." "What do you want, Helen?" "I want you to know that I don't blame you for any of this. Trevor was wrong. What he did was unforgivable. But he's my son and he's falling apart. He's lost everything. His business is failing. His reputation is ruined. He can't eat or sleep. He just sits in that house and stares at the walls." Simone felt nothing. No sympathy. No satisfaction. Just emptiness where her feelings for Trevor used to live. I'm sorry he's struggling, she said carefully. But that's not my problem anymore. I know you have every right to hate him. But please, if there's any part of you that remembers the good times, the love you shared, could you at least talk to him? Let him explain? There's nothing to explain. He cheated. He believed a con artist over his own wife. He moved her into our home. He planned a future with her while throwing away our marriage. What explanation could possibly justify that? Helen's face crumpled. He was weak. He was flattered by her attention. He made terrible choices. But he loves you. He's always loved you. If that's love, I don't want it. Simone stood. I need you to leave now, Helen. This conversation is over. Please. Your 10 minutes are up. If you contact me again, I'll have to ask security to ban you from the building. Helen left, crying into her hands. Simone watched her go and felt a small twinge of regret. She had liked Helen once. But Trevor's choices had destroyed more than just their marriage. They had destroyed extended family relationships too. That evening, Nicole made dinner while Rachel researched vacation destinations on her laptop. You need to get out of this city, Rachel declared. Even just for a long weekend. Somewhere warm and beautiful where nobody knows your story. I can't leave right now. The divorce isn't final. The trial is coming up. The divorce will take weeks. The trial could take months. You can't put your life on hold indefinitely. Rachel turned her laptop around. Look at this. A resort in Costa Rica. Beach villas. Spa. Yoga. Complete relaxation. We could go next weekend. You don't think I'm letting you vacation alone while you're still fragile, do you? Nicole and I already discussed it. She'll take the weekend after next. We're going to rotate keeping you company until you tell us to leave you alone. Simone felt tears prick her eyes. You two are ridiculous. We're dedicated, Nicole corrected. There's a difference. Saturday morning, Simone woke to sunlight streaming through her windows and the smell of coffee brewing. Rachel was already up, working on her laptop at the dining table. Morning, Rachel called. I made coffee and there are muffins from that bakery downstairs. Also, James Fletcher called. He wants to meet with you and Patricia this afternoon. Simone showered and dressed, feeling more rested than she had in weeks. The constant support from Nicole and Rachel was working. She felt stronger. More grounded. The meeting with James and Patricia took place at Patricia's office. They sat in her conference room reviewing documents and preparing for what came next. The prosecution is building their case, Patricia explained. Bethany is facing 23 counts across multiple jurisdictions. The evidence is overwhelming. Her lawyer is trying to negotiate a plea deal. What kind of deal? Simone asked. Reduced sentence in exchange for pleading guilty and revealing all her offshore accounts. Catherine is considering it, but nothing's decided yet. James pulled out his own notes. I've identified 2 more victims who haven't come forward yet. Men she defrauded before Robert Finch. I'm reaching out to them through intermediaries. If they're willing to testify, it strengthens the case even more. What about Trevor? Simone asked. Is he cooperating with the investigation? Fully, James confirmed. He's turned over all financial records. He's given statements about how Bethany manipulated him. He's devastated and humiliated, but he's cooperating. Good. He should be humiliated. Patricia gave her an approving look. The divorce proceedings are moving forward smoothly. Trevor hasn't contested anything. He's agreeing to all our terms. The house will go on the market next week. You'll get your share of all assets. It should be finalized within a month. And then I'm free. Completely free. The meeting ended with action items for everyone. James would continue tracking Bethany's financial trail. Patricia would finalize divorce paperwork. Simone would prepare herself for possible testimony at trial. She left the office feeling productive and purposeful. For so long she had felt like a victim. But now she felt like something else. A survivor. A fighter. Someone who had faced betrayal and come out stronger. That evening, Rachel surprised her with dinner reservations at an expensive restaurant downtown. They dressed up, Simone in a stunning green dress she had bought but never worn, Rachel in sleek black. We're celebrating, Rachel announced as they were seated at a table with a view of the city lights. Celebrating what? Your strength. Your resilience. Your refusal to let them destroy you. That's worth celebrating. They ordered wine and appetizers and main courses. They laughed and talked about everything except Trevor and Bethany. They remembered college adventures and made plans for future travels. For a few hours, Simone felt like her old self again. Or maybe a new self. Someone stronger than before. As they left the restaurant, Simone's phone buzzed. A text from Catherine Moss. Bethany accepted the plea deal. She's pleading guilty to all charges. Sentencing in 6 weeks. You won't have to testify. Simone showed the message to Rachel. It's over, Rachel breathed. The criminal case is over. She's going to prison. They stood on the sidewalk, the city alive around them, and Simone felt something shift inside her. The anger was fading. The hurt was healing. In its place was something new. Hope. Possibility. Freedom. Let's go home, Simone said. I want to plan that Costa Rica trip. They walked back to Simone's apartment arm in arm, two friends who had weathered a storm together and come out on the other side. Sunday was quiet. Nicole came over for brunch and the three women spent the afternoon planning the vacation. Beaches and sunshine and complete escape from reality. It would be exactly what Simone needed. As evening fell, Simone stood on her balcony alone for the first time in days. Rachel had gone to answer emails, and Nicole had left to handle her own life. Simone looked out at the city and felt gratitude wash over her. She was not alone. She had people who loved her. She had a career she was good at. She had survived something that could have broken her. And she was still standing. Her phone rang. A known number. She almost didn't answer, but something made her pick up. This is Simone. It's Trevor. His voice was barely recognizable. Hoarse and broken. Please don't hang up. I just need 1 minute. She should hang up. She should block this number too. But curiosity won out. You have 30 seconds. I'm so sorry. I know that's not enough. I know words can't fix what I did. But I need you to know that I was a fool. Bethany played me completely. I believed her lies. I threw away the best thing that ever happened to me. And I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Is that all? I don't expect you to forgive me. I don't deserve forgiveness. I just wanted you to know that losing you is the biggest regret of my life. And I hope someday you find someone who appreciates you the way I should have. Simone felt tears slide down her cheeks. Not for Trevor. Not for their marriage. But for the death of something that had once been good. For the waste of 8 years. For the pain they had both endured. Goodbye, Trevor, she said softly. Goodbye, Simone. I hope you'll be happy. She hung up and let herself cry. Rachel appeared beside her, saying nothing, just holding her while she sobbed. All the grief and anger and hurt poured out in messy, ugly tears. When it was over, Simone wiped her eyes and took a deep breath. I'm okay, she said. I think I'm actually okay. You're going to be better than okay, Rachel assured her. You're going to be phenomenal. And standing there on her balcony, looking at the future spread before her like an open road, Simone believed her. The news of Bethany's guilty plea hit the media like a bomb. Every outlet picked up the story. Con artist pleads guilty to defrauding multiple victims. Fake pregnancy scheme exposed. Offshore accounts revealed. Trevor's name was in every article, described as one of several successful men who had been manipulated and robbed. Simone's name was mercifully kept out of most reports. Catherine had worked hard to protect her identity, referring to her only as the wife in official statements. But people who knew them figured it out quickly. Monday morning, Simone arrived at work to find a stack of messages from colleagues offering support. Her boss called her into his office. I wanted you to know that we're behind you 100%, he said. If you need time off for court proceedings or just to process everything, take it. Your job is secure. Thank you. I appreciate that. You've handled this with remarkable grace. Not everyone could have done what you did. Staying professional, staying focused. I'm impressed. Simone returned to her desk feeling validated. She had worked hard to keep her professional life separate from her personal disaster. It was good to know it had been noticed. Tuesday afternoon brought an unexpected email. It was from Robert Finch, the real estate developer from Arizona. Dear Simone, it read. I wanted to reach out personally to thank you for your courage in pursuing justice against Bethany Carter. Your investigation helped expose her and brought multiple victims' cases to light. I know this has been difficult for you, but please know that your strength has helped many people. If you ever need anything, please don't hesitate to contact me. You're a remarkable woman. Sincerely, Robert. Simone read it twice, then forwarded it to Patricia with a note. Nice to be appreciated. Patricia's response came immediately. You deserve all the appreciation. You've been a model client. Strong, smart, and patient. The divorce should be final by the end of next week. Then you can close this chapter completely. Wednesday brought the official announcement. Bethany had been sentenced to 12 years in prison for fraud, identity theft, and money laundering across 4 states. She would serve at least 8 years before being eligible for parole. All her assets had been seized and restitution would be paid to her victims. The news showed footage of Bethany being led into court in an orange jumpsuit, her hands cuffed, her head down. She looked nothing like the confident woman who had stood in Simone's bathroom claiming victory. She looked small and defeated. Simone watched the footage once, then turned off the television. She felt no joy in Bethany's downfall. No satisfaction in her imprisonment. Just a quiet sense of justice being served. Thursday was the house closing. The property had sold quickly to a young couple expecting their first child. Simone signed the papers in Patricia's office, her signature releasing her claim to the home she had built with Trevor. "How do you feel?" Patricia asked as Simone set down the pen. "Lighter," Simone said honestly. "That house was full of memories I don't want anymore. Let someone else make happy memories there." The proceeds from the sale were split exactly 50-50. Simone's portion deposited into her personal account. It was a substantial amount, enough to give her financial security for years if she was smart about it. Friday was the final divorce hearing. Simone dressed in a blue power suit and met Patricia at the courthouse. Trevor was already there with his lawyer, looking like a shadow of his former self. He had lost weight. His suit hung loose on his frame. His eyes were hollow. He tried to catch Simone's gaze, but she looked past him. He was a stranger now. Someone she used to know. Nothing more. The hearing was quick and procedural. The judge reviewed the settlement agreement. No children. No contested assets. Clean division of everything. Both parties agreed to all terms. "This divorce is granted," the judge said, bringing down her gavel. "You are both free to go." Just like that, 8 years of marriage were dissolved. Simone walked out of the courtroom a single woman. Patricia hugged her in the hallway. "You did it? It's over." "It's over," Simone repeated, testing the words. They felt true. Trevor caught up with her at the elevator. His lawyer tried to stop him, but he shook off the restraining hand. "Simone, please. Can we talk? Just for a minute?" She looked at him fully for the first time in weeks. "There's nothing left to say, Trevor. We're done. Move on with your life and I'll move on with mine. I don't know how to move on. I don't know how to live without you. You should have thought about that before you believed a con artist over your wife. Goodbye, Trevor." She stepped into the elevator. He reached out as if to follow, but Patricia stepped between them. "Leave her alone, Mr. Patterson. This is harassment. Don't make me file a restraining order." The elevator doors closed on Trevor's devastated face. Simone leaned against the wall and breathed deeply. "You okay?" Patricia asked. "I'm perfect." They went to lunch at a restaurant with outdoor seating. The spring weather was beautiful, warm and bright. Patricia ordered champagne. "To your freedom," she toasted. "To new beginnings," Simone countered. They clinked glasses and drank. Simone felt the bubbles fizz on her tongue and thought about everything that had changed in 3 months. She had lost a husband and a home. But she had gained self-respect and independence. She had discovered strength she did not know she possessed. "What's next for you?" Patricia asked. "Costa Rica next weekend with Rachel. Then maybe Paris in the summer. I'm taking that month off I've always wanted. Going to see the world. By myself. On my own terms." "That sounds perfect. After that, I don't know. Maybe I'll come back and throw myself into work. Maybe I'll decide to start my own consulting business. Maybe I'll move to a different city entirely. The point is, I can do anything I want now. I'm not tied to anyone else's dreams or plans." Patricia raised her glass again. "To doing whatever the hell you want." They finished lunch and said their goodbyes. Patricia had other clients to meet. Simone had a life to start living. She drove to her apartment and found Nicole waiting with Rachel. They had decorated the living room with balloons and streamers. A cake sat on the kitchen counter with "Freedom" written in bright frosting. "Surprise," they shouted together. Simone laughed, real and genuine. "You two are ridiculous." "We're celebrating your divorce," Rachel said. "It's not every day you get to throw a party for the end of something terrible." They ate cake and drank wine and talked about the future. Rachel had researched every detail of their Costa Rica trip. Nicole had found articles about solo female travel and safety tips. They were planning this adventure with military precision. "I'm nervous about traveling alone after this trip," Simone admitted. "I've never done it before." "You'll be amazing at it," Nicole assured her. "You're strong and smart and capable. You survived Bethany and Trevor. You can survive anything." That evening, after Nicole and Rachel had left, Simone sat on her balcony watching the sunset. Her phone buzzed with a text from Catherine Moss. Bethany was transferred to federal prison this afternoon. It's really over. You can rest now. Simone responded with a simple thank you, and set her phone aside. The sun was painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. Beautiful and temporary. Just like everything in life. She thought about Trevor, probably sitting alone in some apartment, drowning in regret. She thought about Bethany locked in a cell, paying for her crimes. She thought about Robert Finch and the other victims, hopefully finding their own paths to healing. But mostly she thought about herself. About who she had been 3 months ago and who she was now. She had been tested and had passed. She had been knocked down and had gotten back up. She had been betrayed and had chosen to fight instead of giving up. Her phone rang. A known number. She almost didn't answer, but something made her pick up. Hello? Simone? This is Helen Patterson, Trevor's mother. I know you said not to contact you, but I wanted to say something. Simone sighed. Helen, I really don't want. Please. Just let me say this. I raised a son who betrayed you in the worst possible way. I'm ashamed of him. I'm ashamed that I didn't see what was happening. But I'm not ashamed of you. You handled this with dignity and strength. You didn't let them destroy you. I wanted you to know that I'm proud of you, even though I have no right to be. And I hope you'll find happiness. You deserve it. Simone felt unexpected tears. Thank you, Helen. That means more than you know. Take care of yourself. And if you ever need anything at all, you can call me. I'll always consider you family, even if legally you're not anymore. They hung up and Simone let the tears fall. Good tears this time. Healing tears. She went to bed early that night, exhausted but peaceful. Tomorrow she would start planning her future in earnest. But tonight, she would simply rest in the knowledge that the battle was over. And she had won. 6 weeks after Bethany's sentencing, Simone was packing for her Costa Rica trip when Nicole called with unexpected news. Trevor's business declared bankruptcy today, Nicole said. It's all over the news. He's lost everything. Simone set down the sundress she had been folding. Everything? The company folded. He had to lay off all his employees. Creditors are seizing assets. Apparently, Bethany drained so much money from the business accounts that it couldn't recover. And when news of the scandal broke, clients started leaving. It was a perfect storm. Simone felt a complex mix of emotions. Sympathy for Trevor's employees who had lost their jobs through no fault of their own. Grim satisfaction that Trevor was facing real consequences. And underneath it all, relief that she had gotten out when she did. How is he handling it? She asked. Not well from what I hear. Helen called me this morning. He's moved back in with his parents. Can't afford his own place anymore. She's worried about him. That's not my problem anymore. I know. But I thought you should know. After they hung up, Simone researched the bankruptcy filing online. The numbers were staggering. Trevor had lost everything. His business. His savings. His investments. The house proceeds had gone to paying off debts Bethany had created. He was starting over from nothing at 40 years old. Part of her felt vindicated. He had chosen Bethany over her. He had believed lies over truth. Now he was paying the price. But another part of her just felt sad. Sad for the waste of it all. For the potential that had been destroyed. For the life they could have had if he had made different choices. Rachel arrived that evening to help finish packing. She took one look at Simone's face and knew something was wrong. What happened? Simone told her about Trevor's bankruptcy. Rachel listened without interrupting, then gave her assessment. He brought this on himself. Every single bit of it. You can feel sad about it but don't feel guilty. You didn't do this to him. Bethany did. And he let her because he was weak and selfish. I know that intellectually. But emotionally. Emotionally you're a good person who doesn't like seeing anyone suffer, even someone who hurt you. That's okay. Feel what you feel. But don't let it derail your healing. They finished packing and ordered pizza. Over dinner, Rachel distracted Simone with funny stories from her job and plans for their trip. By the time she left, Simone felt better. The next morning brought another development. James Fletcher called. I thought you'd want to know. Bethany's real husband filed for divorce. He's also suing her for fraud. Apparently, she took money from him before she disappeared and he wants it back. Will he get it? Probably not. All her assets were seized for restitution to her more recent victims. But at least he'll get closure. How many lives did she destroy? Simone wondered aloud. Too many. But you stopped her from destroying more. That's what matters. That afternoon, Simone went to her office to tie up loose ends before her vacation. Her boss called her in for a meeting. "I wanted to talk to you about a new opportunity," he said. "We're opening an office in Seattle. We need someone to head it up. Someone strong and capable who can build a team from scratch. I think you'd be perfect." Simone blinked in surprise. "Seattle? That's across the country. I know it's a big ask. But you mentioned before that you got a promotion offer in Seattle. This would be even better. More money. More responsibility. Complete fresh start in a new city where nobody knows your story. Can I think about it?" "Of course. Take your vacation. Think it over. Let me know when you get back." Simone left the meeting with her mind spinning. Seattle. A completely new beginning. New city. New job. New life. It was tempting. Almost too tempting. That evening, she met Nicole and Rachel for dinner at their favorite restaurant. She told them about the Seattle offer. "That's amazing," Nicole said. "But it's also 3,000 miles away from your support system." "I know. That's what I'm struggling with." "Here's what I think," Rachel said. "You should go to Costa Rica. You should spend a week on the beach doing nothing but relaxing. And you should let the answer come to you naturally. Don't force it." "That's actually good advice," Nicole agreed. For once. "For once? I give excellent advice always." They bickered playfully and Simone smiled. She would miss this if she moved to Seattle. These casual dinners. These easy friendships. This support system that had carried her through the worst months of her life. But maybe that was the point. Maybe she had healed enough that she did not need constant support anymore. Maybe she was strong enough to stand completely on her own. The weekend before her trip, Simone ran into one of Trevor's former business partners at the grocery store. The man looked uncomfortable when he saw her. "Simone. Hi. How are you?" "I'm well. How are things with you?" "Complicated. We're all scrambling to find new positions. Trevor's bankruptcy affected a lot of people." He paused. "For what it's worth, I'm sorry. We all knew he was having an affair, but we thought it was just a midlife crisis thing. We had no idea about Bethany or what she was doing." "You knew about the affair and said nothing?" He had the grace to look ashamed. "We thought it would blow over. That he'd come to his senses. We were wrong. I'm sorry." Simone nodded slowly. "Thank you for telling me." She left the store feeling betrayed all over again. Trevor's colleagues had known and had stayed silent. How many other people had known and said nothing? How many dinner parties had she attended while people whispered behind her back? She called Rachel from her car, needing to hear a friendly voice. "People knew," she said. "Trevor's business partners knew he was having an affair and nobody told me." "People are cowards," Rachel said bluntly. "They don't want to get involved. They tell themselves it's not their business. But you know what? You're better off without all of them. Every single person who stayed silent chose Trevor over you. Now you know who they really are." "I feel like such a fool." "You're not a fool. You trusted your husband. You believed in your marriage. Those are good things, not foolish things. Trevor and Bethany and everyone who enabled them are the fools." Simone drove home feeling raw but determined. She was done caring what anyone else thought. She was done feeling embarrassed or ashamed. She had nothing to be ashamed of. She was the victim here, not the villain. Monday morning, she woke up to a news alert on her phone. Trevor had given an interview to a local reporter, probably hoping to rehabilitate his image. "I was completely fooled," he was quoted as saying. "Bethany Carter was a professional con artist who targeted me specifically. She researched me, learned my weaknesses, and exploited them. I take full responsibility for my poor judgment, but I was a victim too." The article went on to detail the financial devastation, the bankruptcy, the lost jobs. Trevor positioned himself as someone who had made a mistake but was trying to rebuild. There was one line that made Simone's blood boil. "My biggest regret is losing my wife. She was the best thing in my life and I threw it away for a lie." She called Patricia immediately. "Did you see Trevor's interview?" "I did. Infuriating, isn't it? He's trying to rewrite history. Make himself the victim. Can we stop him from talking about me publicly?" "You're divorced. He has freedom of speech. Unless he says something provably false that damages you, there's not much we can do. But I wouldn't worry about it. Anyone with half a brain can see what he's doing." Simone hung up feeling frustrated. Trevor got to tell his story to the world while she stayed silent. It felt unfair. But then she remembered something Catherine Moss had told her. "Let your actions speak for themselves. You don't need to defend yourself to people who've already made up their minds. The people who matter know the truth." She was right. The people who mattered, Nicole and Rachel and Patricia and her colleagues, they all knew the truth. Everyone else's opinion did not matter. That evening she got a text from an unknown number. Against her better judgment, she opened it. I read Trevor's interview. What a load of garbage. You were always too good for him. Glad you got out. Robert Finch. She smiled. Even Trevor's fellow victim could see through the manipulation. She responded with a simple thank you and blocked the number. No need to start new relationships or communications. She was moving forward, not backward. Wednesday brought her last day of work before vacation. Her colleagues threw her a small party, cake and coffee in the break room. They gave her a travel journal and told her to come back with stories. We're proud of you, her boss said. The way you've handled everything with such grace and professionalism. You're a credit to this company. Simone felt emotion well up. Thank you. All of you. This job, this team, you've all helped me get through this. That night, she did her final packing. Swimsuits and sundresses and books. Sunscreen and sandals and her favorite sunglasses. She was ready for this. Ready to leave behind the drama and stress and just exist for a week in sunshine and warmth. Rachel picked her up at 5 in the morning for their flight. They stopped for coffee and breakfast sandwiches, trading excited comments about their plans. At the airport, Simone turned on airplane mode and felt a weight lift. For the next 7 days she would be unreachable. No calls about Trevor. No updates about Bethany. No news about bankruptcy or interviews or legal proceedings. Just beach and relaxation and healing. As their plane lifted off, she looked out the window at the city falling away below. Somewhere down there, Trevor was probably waking up in his parents' house, facing another day of consequences. Somewhere, Bethany was waking up in a prison cell, beginning her 8th year of many. And Simone was flying toward freedom. She turned to Rachel and smiled. I'm ready for this. Good. Because the next 7 days are all about you. About rest and recovery and rediscovering who Simone is when she's not dealing with other people's garbage. I like the sound of that. The plane climbed higher, chasing the sun. Simone closed her eyes and let herself relax completely for the first time in months. The collapse of Trevor's world was not her problem. The consequences of his choices were his to bear. She had her own future to build. And it was going to be beautiful. Costa Rica was everything Simone needed. White sand beaches and turquoise water. Sunshine and warmth and complete escape from reality. She and Rachel stayed in a villa with a view of the ocean, spending their days swimming and reading and eating fresh fruit. For the first 3 days, Simone did nothing but rest. She slept late. She napped in the afternoon. She went to bed early. Years of stress seemed to melt away with each passing hour. On the 4th day, she woke up feeling different. Lighter. Clear. She joined a yoga class on the beach at sunrise, moving through poses as the sun painted the sky pink and gold. How do you feel? Rachel asked over breakfast. Like myself again. But different. Better, maybe. That's healing. That's what it looks like. They spent that day exploring a nearby village, browsing local markets, trying new foods. Simone bought bright scarves and handmade jewelry. Things that made her smile. Things that were completely her style, not compromised for anyone else's taste. In the evening, they sat on their villa's patio watching the sunset. Rachel pulled out the travel journal Simone's colleagues had given her. Write something, Rachel encouraged. Capture this moment. Simone opened to the first page and thought about what to write. Finally, she put pen to paper. Day 4 in Costa Rica. I feel like I'm rediscovering myself. All the pieces of me that got lost in my marriage are coming back. I like art galleries. I like spicy food. I like waking up early to watch the sunrise. I like adventure. I like being alone with my thoughts. I like who I'm becoming. She showed it to Rachel, who read it with tears in her eyes. That's beautiful. Keep writing. Document this journey. Over the next 3 days, Simone filled pages. Observations about the country. Reflections on her healing process. Dreams about her future. The journal became a safe space to process everything she had been through. On their last full day, Simone went for a long walk on the beach alone. She had told Rachel she needed some time to herself, and Rachel had understood without question. The beach stretched for miles, empty except for a few other early morning walkers. Simone walked until her legs ached, thinking about everything that had happened in the past 4 months. She had discovered her husband's affair. She had been confronted by his pregnant mistress. She had hired lawyers and investigators. She had watched a criminal case unfold. She had gotten divorced. She had seen her ex-husband lose everything. It was a lot. More than most people dealt with in a lifetime. But she had survived it. More than survived. She had fought back intelligently. She had protected herself. She had refused to be a victim. And now she stood on a beach in Costa Rica, completely free to build whatever life she wanted. The Seattle job offer came to mind. More money. More responsibility. Complete fresh start. It was tempting. But was it right? She thought about Nicole and Rachel. About her support system. About the life she had built in her current city. Did she want to leave all that behind? Then again, maybe leaving was exactly what she needed. A clean break. New surroundings. New challenges. A place where nobody knew her story or her history. Where she could just be Simone, not the woman who was betrayed. She sat on the sand and watched the waves roll in. The answer would come. She just had to be patient. That evening, she and Rachel had a farewell dinner at a beachfront restaurant. They toasted to friendship and healing and new beginnings. "I'm going to miss you when you move to Seattle," Rachel said. Simone blinked. "I haven't decided to take that job yet." "Yes, you have. I can see it in your eyes. You're ready for a completely new start. And you should take it. You'll be amazing. But I'll be leaving you and Nicole. We'll visit. You'll visit. And you'll make new friends and build a new life. That's not abandoning us. That's growing." Simone felt tears prick her eyes. "When did you get so wise?" "I've always been this wise. You're just finally listening." They flew home the next day, tanned and rested and renewed. Nicole picked them up from the airport, immediately commenting on how different Simone looked. "You're glowing. Costa Rica was good for you." It really was. That week, Simone made her decision. She called her boss and accepted the Seattle position. The move would happen in 6 weeks. She would spend that time training her replacement, packing up her apartment, and saying goodbye to the city that had been her home for a decade. Nicole cried when Simone told her, "I'm happy for you. But I'm going to miss you so much." "I'm going to miss you too. But Rachel's right. This isn't goodbye. It's just a new chapter." The next 6 weeks were a whirlwind. Simone threw herself into work, documenting processes and training the person who would take over her role. She sorted through her belongings, donating anything that reminded her of Trevor or her old life. She wanted to arrive in Seattle with only things that made her happy. Patricia took her to lunch to celebrate the new job. "I'm proud of you," the lawyer said. "You took a terrible situation and turned it into an opportunity for growth. That takes real strength. I had good guidance. Thank you for everything you did. You did the hard part. I just helped facilitate." 2 weeks before the move, Simone ran into Helen Patterson at a coffee shop. Trevor's mother looked surprised to see her but approached with cautious hope. "Simone, you look wonderful." "Thank you. How are you, Helen?" "Managing. He's trying to rebuild. He got a job with a small consulting firm. Nothing like what he had before, but it's honest work." Helen paused. "He asks about you sometimes. Wonders if you're okay. Tell him I'm more than okay. Tell him I'm happy." Helen's eyes filled with tears. "I will. And I'm glad. You deserve happiness." They parted amicably and Simone felt closure. She bore Helen no ill will. Trevor's mother had always been kind to her. The sins of the son were not the mother's fault. 1 week before the move, Simone, Nicole and Rachel had a farewell dinner. They chose the same restaurant where they had celebrated Simone's divorce, coming full circle. To Simone, Nicole toasted. Who faced betrayal and chose strength. Who was knocked down and got back up. Who's about to start the adventure of a lifetime. To new beginnings, Rachel added. And to friendships that survive any distance. To you too, Simone said, her voice thick with emotion. For loving me through the worst time of my life. For believing in me when I didn't believe in myself. I couldn't have done this without you. They cried and laughed and made plans for visits. Rachel would come to Seattle in the fall. Nicole would come for Christmas. Simone would come back for birthdays and holidays. Distance would not break their bond. Moving day arrived cold and gray. Professional movers loaded Simone's belongings into a truck bound for Seattle. She took one last walk through her empty apartment, remembering the day she had moved in. She had been broken then. Defeated. Lost. Now she was whole. Strong. Found. She locked the door for the last time and drove to the airport. Her flight left at noon. By evening she would be in her new city, starting her new life. As the plane took off she looked out the window one more time. The city where she had married Trevor. Where she had been betrayed. Where she had fought back and won. It was all behind her now. Seattle welcomed her with rain and cloudy skies. Her new apartment was in a modern building downtown, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the water. It was bigger than her last place. More expensive. But she could afford it now with her new salary. She spent the first week getting settled. Unpacking boxes. Buying furniture. Learning her new neighborhood. The office was sleek and professional, her team eager to work with her. The challenge was exactly what she needed. On her first Saturday in Seattle, she woke early and decided to explore. She walked through Pike Place Market, watching vendors sell fresh fish and flowers. She rode the ferry to Bainbridge Island. She hiked through Discovery Park, breathing in the scent of pine trees and salt water. She felt alive. More alive than she had felt in years. Maybe ever. That evening, she video called Nicole and Rachel, showing them her new apartment and the view. "It's beautiful," Nicole breathed. "You deserve all of this." "I'm so proud of you," Rachel added. "Look at what you've built. Look at who you've become." After they hung up, Simone sat on her balcony watching the sun set over the water. She thought about Trevor, probably still struggling to rebuild his life and career. She thought about Bethany, locked in prison for years to come. She felt no satisfaction in their suffering. Just quiet relief that they were no longer her problem. She opened her travel journal and wrote, "Week 1 in Seattle. I'm starting over completely. New city. New job. New apartment. New life. Everything is uncertain and a little scary. But it's also exciting. I get to decide who I want to be here. No past to live down. No reputation to repair. Just me and my future. And I'm ready for it." She closed the journal and smiled. Ready was exactly the right word. For the first time in her adult life, she was completely alone. No husband. No roommate. No family nearby. Just herself. And she loved it. 6 months after moving to Seattle, Simone sat in her office reviewing quarterly reports when her assistant knocked on the door. "There's someone here to see you. He doesn't have an appointment, but he says it's important. His name is Daniel Cooper." Simone didn't recognize the name. "Did he say what it's about?" "He's a photographer. Said he's working on a project about women who've overcome adversity. He read about your story online and wanted to talk to you." Simone's first instinct was to say no. She had worked hard to leave that story behind. But curiosity won out. "Give me 5 minutes, then send him in." She used the time to Google Daniel Cooper. Award-winning photographer. His work had been featured in major magazines. His current project was documenting women who had faced major life challenges and rebuilt themselves stronger. When he walked in, Simone was struck by his genuine smile and kind eyes. He was tall, dressed casually in jeans and a green sweater, carrying a camera bag. "Thank you for seeing me," he said, shaking her hand. "I know this is unexpected. I promise I'm not here to exploit your story or sensationalize what you went through. I'm interested in the after. The rebuilding. The strength it takes to start over." They talked for an hour. Daniel explained his project, showing her photographs of other women he had interviewed. A cancer survivor who started a nonprofit. A woman who left an abusive relationship and went back to school at 50. A refugee who built a successful business in her new country. "What made you want to include me?" Simone asked. "Because you did something most people can't do. You faced betrayal and fraud and public humiliation, and instead of becoming bitter or broken, you investigated, you fought back intelligently, and you rebuilt your entire life in a new city. That takes courage." Simone felt uncomfortable with the praise. "I just did what I had to do. That's what every woman I've photographed says. But it's more than that. You made choices. You could have given up. You could have taken Trevor back. You could have stayed stuck in anger. But you didn't. You chose to heal and grow and build something new." They agreed to do a photo session the following week. Daniel wanted to capture her in her element, at work and in her new city. Simone found herself looking forward to it. The photo session was surprisingly fun. Daniel had a way of making her relax, making her forget about the camera. They shot in her office on the ferry at Pike Place Market. He asked thoughtful questions about her healing process and her new life. "Do you ever talk to your ex-husband?" he asked as they walked along the waterfront. "No. We have no reason to communicate. The divorce is final. That chapter is completely closed. Do you think you'll ever be able to trust someone again? Fall in love again?" Simone paused, considering. "I don't know. Right now I'm happy being alone. I'm focused on my career and building this new life. Romance isn't a priority. But maybe someday. When I'm ready. When I meet someone who proves themselves worthy of trust. That's a healthy perspective." After the session, Daniel asked if she would like to get coffee. Simone almost said no, but something made her agree. They went to a small cafe near the market, sitting by the window watching rain fall. "Can I tell you something?" Daniel said. When I researched your story, I was angry on your behalf. What your ex-husband did, what that woman did, it was despicable. But then I read about how you handled it, how you rebuilt, and I thought, there's a woman who knows her worth. It took me a while to get there, Simone admitted. For a long time I blamed myself. Wondered what I could have done differently. But eventually I realized that his betrayal was about his weakness, not my worth. Exactly. And that's the story I want to tell. Not the betrayal. Not the drama. The strength. The healing. The rebuilding. They talked for 2 hours. Daniel told her about his own divorce 3 years ago, how he had thrown himself into his photography to cope. Simone told him about Costa Rica and the travel journal and the decision to move to Seattle. When they finally said goodbye, Daniel asked if he could call her again. For the project? Simone asked. For the project. And maybe also just to talk. I enjoyed this. So did I. Over the next few weeks, Daniel became a regular part of Simone's life. They met for coffee. They went to art galleries. They walked through the city taking photographs. It was casual and comfortable, not quite dating but more than friendship. Simone was careful with her heart. She had been burned badly and was not ready to jump into anything serious. But she enjoyed Daniel's company. He was kind and creative and respected her boundaries. One evening, they were at her apartment looking at proofs from the photo session when her phone rang. A known number. She almost didn't answer, but Daniel encouraged her to take it. Hello. Simone, this is Catherine Moss. I have news about Bethany's case. Simone stepped out onto the balcony. What is it? Bethany tried to escape from prison last week. She was caught and moved to maximum security. Her parole eligibility has been revoked. She'll serve the full 12 years now, possibly longer if they add escape charges. Simone felt nothing. No satisfaction. No anger. Just mild interest in a story that no longer affected her life. Thank you for letting me know. How are you doing? Catherine asked. I heard you moved to Seattle. New job. New everything. I'm happy, Catherine. Really happy. That's the best revenge. Living well. Being happy. Moving on completely. After they hung up, Simone stood on the balcony breathing in the cool Seattle air. Bethany was still in prison. Would be for years. Trevor was still struggling to rebuild. And Simone was here in her beautiful apartment, with her successful career, with new friendships and possibilities. She had won. Not by destroying them but by building something better for herself. Daniel joined her on the balcony. Everything okay? Everything's perfect. That weekend, Nicole flew in for a visit. She loved Seattle, loved Simone's apartment, loved seeing how happy her sister had become. Tell me about the photographer, Nicole demanded over brunch. His name is Daniel. He's working on a project. We're friends. Just friends? For now. Maybe more someday. I'm not rushing anything. Good. Take your time. Make him prove himself. They spent the weekend exploring the city. Simone showed Nicole all her favorite places. The market. The waterfront. The best coffee shops. Her office with its view of the water. I'm so proud of you, Nicole said as they stood in Simone's office on Sunday afternoon. Look at what you've built. Look at who you've become. You're stronger and more confident than you ever were with Trevor. I had to be. This past year forced me to grow. The best revenge is success. And you're succeeding at everything. After Nicole left, Simone threw herself back into work. The Seattle office was growing faster than anyone had anticipated. She was hiring new staff, landing major clients, building something substantial. It was challenging and exhausting and exactly what she needed. Daniel's photo exhibition opened 3 months later. Simone attended the gallery opening, nervous about seeing herself displayed for public viewing. But when she saw the photographs, she was moved to tears. Daniel had captured her strength, her confidence, her resilience. The photographs showed a woman who had been through hell and come out refined, not destroyed. The accompanying text told her story briefly, focusing on the rebuilding rather than the betrayal. What do you think? Daniel asked nervously. It's beautiful. You made me look stronger than I feel. I showed what I see. You're that strong. You just don't always see it yourself. The exhibition was a success. Art critics praised it. The women featured became minor celebrities. Simone did a few interviews, always keeping the focus on healing and growth rather than victimhood. One interviewer asked if she had any advice for women going through similar situations. Document everything. Hire good lawyers. Trust your instincts. And remember that someone else's betrayal doesn't define your worth. You get to decide who you become after trauma. Choose to become stronger. That answer went viral online. Women reached out thanking her for her words. Some shared their own stories of betrayal and rebuilding. Simone found herself becoming an accidental advocate for women's resilience. A year after moving to Seattle, Simone received a package from an unknown sender. Inside was a handwritten letter from Robert Finch. Dear Simone, I wanted you to know that I've finally moved on. I met someone wonderful who knows my whole story and loves me anyway. Your courage in pursuing justice against Bethany helped me find closure. Watching you rebuild your life inspired me to rebuild mine. Thank you for your strength. It gave me permission to be strong too. With gratitude, Robert. Simone smiled and tucked the letter away. She was glad Robert had found happiness. Everyone deserved a second chance at love. Everyone deserved to heal. Including her. That evening, she met Daniel for dinner at a restaurant overlooking Puget Sound. They had been seeing each other regularly for months now, though they had kept things casual. But lately, Simone had been feeling ready for more. I have something to tell you, Daniel said as they waited for their food. I've been offered a residency in New York. 6 months starting in the fall. Simone felt her heart sink. Just when she was ready to open up, he was leaving. That's amazing. Congratulations. I'm not sure I want to take it. Why not? It sounds like an incredible opportunity. Because I don't want to leave Seattle. I don't want to leave you. Simone met his eyes. We're not even officially dating. I know. And that's my fault. I've been patient, giving you space to heal. But the truth is, I'm in love with you. I have been for months. I was just waiting for you to be ready. Simone felt tears well up. Daniel? You don't have to say anything now. Take your time. Think about it. But I wanted you to know where I stand. I'll turn down New York if you're willing to give us a real chance. Or I'll go to New York and wait for you if that's what you need. I'm not going anywhere unless you tell me to. Simone reached across the table and took his hand. I'm scared. The last time I trusted someone with my heart, he destroyed me. I know. And I'm not asking you to rush. I'm just asking you to consider the possibility. When you're ready. If you're ever ready. They finished dinner and walked along the waterfront. Simone thought about Trevor, about the years she had wasted on someone who didn't deserve her. Then she thought about Daniel, about his patience and kindness and genuine care for her well-being. I'm not ready for marriage or moving in together, she said finally. But I think I'm ready to try. To actually date. To see where this goes. Daniel's face lit up. Yeah. But slowly. And you have to be honest with me. Always. Even when it's hard. I can do that. I will do that. He kissed her then, soft and gentle, under the Seattle stars. And for the first time since Trevor's betrayal, Simone let herself feel hope about love again. But even as she kissed Daniel back, she knew something important. She didn't need him to be happy. She had already built happiness on her own. He was an addition to her life, not the foundation of it. And that made all the difference. Over the next few months they dated properly. Dinner dates and movie nights and weekend trips. Simone introduced him to Nicole and Rachel, who both gave their approval. Daniel introduced her to his family, who welcomed her warmly. It was different from her relationship with Trevor. Healthier. More balanced. Daniel supported her career instead of resenting it. He celebrated her successes instead of feeling threatened. He gave her space to be herself instead of trying to mold her into what he wanted. 2 years after her divorce, Simone stood in her office looking out at the Seattle skyline. Her team had just landed the biggest client in the company's history. Her career was soaring. Her personal life was fulfilling. She had friends and family who loved her. She had a partner who respected her. She had built a life she was proud of. A life that was completely her own. Her phone buzzed with a text from Nicole. Saw Trevor's LinkedIn update. He's working as a junior consultant somewhere. Making a fraction of what he used to make. Thought you'd want to know. Simone stared at the message for a moment, then deleted it without responding. She didn't care what Trevor was doing. He was not part of her story anymore. She was Simone Harper, successful businesswoman, survivor, advocate for women's resilience. She was someone who had faced betrayal and chosen strength. Someone who had lost everything and built something better. That evening, Daniel came over with takeout and wine. They ate on her balcony, watching the sun set over the water. I love you, he said quietly. Simone had known he felt it for months. But this was the first time he had said the words. I love you too, she responded, surprised to find she meant it. He kissed her and she kissed him back, and for the first time in her adult life, Simone felt completely at peace. She had been betrayed. She had been broken. But she had rebuilt herself into someone stronger. Someone wiser. Someone who knew her worth and would never settle for less than she deserved again. This was her happy ending. Not a reconciliation. Not a fairy tale. Just a woman who had survived the worst and built something beautiful from the ashes. And it was better than anything she had ever imagined.